Welcome to Multifamily Investor Nation, Multifamily Monday Meetup. As you're coming in, let us know what city and state you're joining us from. And if you're joining us from other countries, like we're expecting some Canadians and other countries, please let us know what country you're coming from. Again, as you're coming in, let us know what city and state you're coming in from. I see a lot of familiar faces. Welcome, Clay. Welcome, Brock. Welcome, Fraser. And welcome, Prashant. Pleasure to have you guys here with me today. Again, as you're coming in, let us know what city and state you're coming in from. I see we have some Atlanta people coming in here today. That's great. We also have people from Ackworth, Georgia. Nice. We have people from Scotland. I love that. Yeah, I love it, Fraser. I love that.
That's
international
cool.
folks. That is so cool. Welcome, welcome. Really enjoying having you today. If you've ever been to our shows, this is a different show altogether. This is not Multifamily Meetup Mondays. It's a whole different format. So I hope you'll bear with me as we're trying this new again. So this show originally started as an in-person meetup. And now we're doing it as a virtual meetup. And yes, it is sponsored by Multifamily Investor Nation. You guys are familiar with Dan Handford and his group. So this definitely has a lot to do with that. And we're going to keep letting people arrive. As you arrive, please let us know what city and state you're coming in from. Even though I know what city and state you're coming in from, I want the guests to also know where you're coming in from. So if you would, please let us know there.
I'm coming from Long Island, New York.
Perfect. All right.
Hello,
Thanks for
how
letting
are
us
you?
know, Prashant.
Nice to meet you guys.
All right. Yeah, and this is different, guys. So this is what I love about this particular layout. So the first part of this meetup is going to be networking. So what I want us to do is I want us to introduce ourselves, get to know each other, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and present for today. And then after that, we'll jump into the topic, right? And then after that, we'll do more networking and we'll be done for the day. So it's going to be a good show. So I hope you guys stick around, and I hope I can get your participation as well. All right. So, so what's the name of this show? For those who are tuning in for the first time, it's Multifamily Investor Nation Monday Meetup. Okay. So if you look at the chat box, take a look at where you have the chat box at the bottom, and you'll see that I've entered my name, my email address, yes, which means yes, I would like a copy of the introductory webinar video, and my phone number, okay? And I've also entered a website. So I'd like you guys to do the same if you'd like. At the very least, let us have your first and last name and email address. And if you have a website you'd like to promote, I'd like to give you the opportunity to do that here. So please go ahead and do that. All right, we got some more people entering. So as you enter today, please let us know what city and state you're coming in from. And if you are one of those international guests, please let us know what country as well. Okay. And again, guys, I put in my first name, last name, email address, phone number, and website. If you would, please do the same. And what we're going to do is at the end, we'll share this information, and we'll also give you guys a copy of it as well as there might be some announcements that we're going to be letting you guys know about. So thank you for that. And as our guests continue trickling in, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you would, please mute your microphones for right now. Mute your microphones. And what we're going to do is everyone's going to get a chance to introduce themselves briefly in less than a minute. Let me know what it is you're doing, your name, and what you're doing in the multifamily space. And if you're looking for a partner or you're looking for a partnership, let us know that as well. And the idea of this meetup is, to add value, give you some information, but at the same time, I want you guys to be able to network as well. So thank you for that. All right. And so I'm going to go first. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Carlos D. Reinoso. I am a co-organizer for Multifamily Investor Nation. I'm also an investor. I've invested in joint ventures in the past, small 5 and 6 units. I've done a full cycle on those back in Florida. In 2001, we sold them in between 2003 and 2005. And now we're looking to syndicate deals. Actually, some of you here have invited me to help raise capital with you on these deals. So I'm looking to partner up as a general partner and syndicate deals. And so if anyone is looking for a general partner to syndicate deals with, I'm definitely interested. And you have my information in the chat box. So thank you for that. So now, whoever would like to go next, please introduce yourselves and let us know what you're doing in the multifamily space and what you're looking to, what are you looking for as far as a partnership, if at all, and if not, that's fine as well. And we'll go ahead and whoever unmutes first will be the next person. So go ahead and unmute yourself. And Prashant, you could go ahead since you're unmuted. Go ahead.
So my name is Prashant Kumar. I'm the owner of My Realty Gains, and I have two websites, myrealtygains.com and multifamilyrealtygains.com. I'm a sponsor, syndicator, and I created a platform, myrealtygains.com, for ultra busy professionals to understand the passive benefits of passive investing in commercial real estate. So my website actually talks about, what are the real benefits. You feel free to subscribe to my 7-day email newsletter on myrealtygains.com, and I have a passionate passive investors club. There you have more education. I mean, it's not like asking you to invest anywhere, but it's more educational platform, all free of cost. And I mean, on a regular basis, I do my deals, and I syndicate with others. I am always looking for investors, and I'm always looking for properties also at the same time. I have my own portfolio of 100 units in my personal portfolio, plus I syndicated about 1,200 units into by end of 2019, and I'm working on other deals also in Houston and in Phoenix market as we speak. I would love to connect with you guys. Love to know more about you. You have my calendar link there in the chat box. My phone number, my email address. I would like to talk to you. See, if I can help you out. I'm not asking for investments here. This is not solicitation in any way. I would love to connect with you. That's the real goal. This is what Carlos is also doing here, connecting with people. And this is what I'm saying. I would love to connect with you, and I offer you the opportunity. We have the deal I'm working on right now. I don't want to pitch it too much, but it is a good deal. I mean, we are getting in at 4.1 cap, getting and exiting at 6 cap. Even in that conservative mode, we are able to generate the returns about 1.8 times in 5 years. So
Okay.
at least those kind of deals we look for. I mean, this does a very high level template.
Perfect.
You know.
Okay. Thank you for going first, Prashant. Anybody else want to go? We have, anybody else want to go?
I can go.
Keshav, go ahead with yours.
Yep, my name is Keshav. I'm a realtor in the Detroit area. I went to school in Atlanta, so Georgia Tech. So I have a lot of friends there. So later on in this year, I'd like to continue learning about multifamily. and continue networking. But by the end of the year, I'm hoping to be in a deal, like partner with someone who already has experience in the area and see what I can bring to the table and help out, whether it's like investor capital, underwriting the deals, etc. I just want to get started on a team and build my way up as well. So I have my LinkedIn information and my phone number, and I'd love to hop on calls just to learn more and meet people who are already successful and experienced in this industry.
That's good. Welcome, Keshav. Okay, who would like to go next? And as you go, please mute your microphone, and that way we'll give space for the others as well. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, Brock.
My name is Brock. My name is Brock Heider, and I am in. I've got 2 deals that I'm invested in right now. Very little, but just getting started about a year and a half ago with Dan Handford. And I'm looking to learn more and potentially at some point maybe work into a deal. Maybe work with a group of people, even though I don't partner, but just maybe come alongside them, kind of learn from somebody as they're doing a deal. Maybe partner with them. I don't know the funds I have. I'm just getting started, just trying to learn as much as I can and see if this is something I want to pursue long term. That's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. So right now you're currently in 2 deals as a passive or a limited partner?
Just passive.
Passive limited. Okay, perfect. All right, welcome, Brock. Okay, who wants to go next? I think Clay is, he's actually on a call. He sent me a email here. He actually, he says, as soon as I came on, I got a call. So forgive me. So we'll go ahead and get started then. Right now, everyone has been introduced, so welcome. I'd like to, we've all at some point have had a conversation, or we've seen each other, we've come across each other at events. So we're familiar with each other. So I'm glad that we're getting to know each other just a little bit more here. And what I want to do now is I want to get into the topic at hand and talk about building your multifamily team. And the great thing about this, guys, it's not like, have you ever been to my multifamily meetup Mondays? Usually there's a presentation and it could go on for like half an hour. This is going to be 15 minutes or less. And I'm going to try to keep it brief, and I'm going to try to hit on the main points, the most important topics when it comes to building your multifamily team. So bear with me. So everyone is signed in and everyone has put in their email contact information. So I appreciate that. Now, for those of you who are new or who would like to learn more, we do offer a how to get started in multifamily webinar video. And if you're familiar with Dan Handford and the passive investing team, you've already seen this video. But if we have your email address, you're going to receive this webinar video as well. And again, the content for today is building your multifamily team. There's 2 different types of teams. There's a syndication team, and then there's the outside team members. All right. So we're familiar with the syndication team. We're all either general partners or limited partners. And then in our syndication team, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the general partners, and we're talking about anyone in the core group, in the core team. And they're not, it's harder to replace the team members of general partnership than it is your outside team members, right? And we're going to get into more details about who the outside team members are. But first, we're getting into the syndication group team. So let's talk about the best way to find these investors, right? And really the best way to find these investors is to be where they're at. So you could be multifamily meetups like this one, virtual. You could also be in Prashant's meetup as well. You could also go to in-person meetups, which I don't know about you guys. I still don't feel comfortable meeting in large groups. The last time I did meet in a large group, a couple of the people ended up, I guess, contacting COVID. So it kind of scared me a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want any diseases, any illnesses. So I decided it would probably be best to keep it virtual. But you could go to virtual events. You could go to conferences where you know that there's going to be other investors. And then there's one thing where as investors, we're usually attracted to others who think like us and who are similar and have similar interests as us. Now, when you're building a team, that could be a hindrance. So when you're building a team, you really want to be able to have someone with complementary skills. So for instance, I am not the best at analyzing property. Why? It takes me like 30 extra minutes than it would take someone like maybe Prashant, who, can analyze a deal quickly, get to the point, has experience doing it. So I would prefer to be like the investor relations person and find someone as a partner that could complement my skills, and I could complement their skills by being someone who could, be investor relation, and that person who's better and analysis comes easier to have that person on my team. So that's something. You want to have someone who complements your skills and adds to whatever it is you're lacking, and vice versa. Let's see here. So I'm going to give you one example, and most of you on this call know Dan Handford, right? You guys know Multifamily Investor Nation. You guys know PassiveInvesting.com. Some of you, have, like Brock was mentioning, have even invested. I believe Prashant, you might have invested with Dan as well. So if you look at Dan's team's layout, it's basically three main managing partners. You got Dan. He's going to be your investor relations person, and he's also the marketing person, and he's also the person who puts together the events such as the summit that we've all participated in. Now, under Dan, we also have, or next to Dan in the partnership, we also have Brandon Abbott, and Brandon's role is going to be acquisitions and construction management. So I'm giving you examples of how a trio, a group, a team of three managing partners, how they complement each other's skills. And lastly, we have Danny Randazzo. I'm trying to see where my fingers end up here. So we have Danny Randazzo, and Danny is basically financial. But back to Brandon for a quick second. When Brandon does acquisitions and construction management, he's also doing broker relations. So he's getting to know the brokers, and he's starting relationships with these brokers, because eventually those brokers are going to bring you off-market deals. And that's what we're all looking for. We all want the off-market deals that no one else is privy to, and we're the only ones going directly to the seller. And so if you're doing acquisitions, that's the key role. And that's something that you're going to be experiencing, is establishing those relationships with the brokers. And then financial, with Danny Randazzo, what he does is he focuses more on the finances, and he's also working with the lenders who are lending out the money, private lenders as well, and he's also working with agency debt. So your Fannie Mae, your Freddie Mac, and everyone that has to do with the lending process. So that's the trio, okay? And what you don't want to have too many partners. So I've seen it sometimes. You'll have groups that have, 5 and 6 partners. What you don't want to have, in my opinion, too many, is because you don't want to have like too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, where there's too many people, trying to make the recipe work. And at the end, it loses the flavor, it loses the essence, if you will. But when you only have 3 people, it's more capital for the managing group. It's more specific on the task at hand. And it's better because it's easier to manage 3 partners as opposed to 5, 6, or more. So, you could do 3 to 5. Like, let's say I would do at max 4. And like, let's say I already have 3 partners, but we're lacking capital. And then we have a key principal. And the key principal could be that 4th partner, just to make sure that we have more strength in the deal. And that's when, a 4th or a 5th partner can be beneficial. So you definitely want to be in groups. of people with similar interests like ourselves. Um, and you got, places you could go. You could go to meetups, conferences, virtual groups, Facebook groups. I know Prashant has a Facebook group. Dan Handford has a Facebook group. And pretty soon I'm going to be creating one as well, because I want to be able to have a platform where people could come and get to know more about my investments, what we're doing in the business. And so I could get to know those people that are also interested in doing what I'm doing. And that's why you want to be a part of a Facebook group as well. And obviously you got places like social media where you could go find these people as well. And you mentioned, Kashav, you mentioned LinkedIn as well. That's a great platform to be at. So when you go to LinkedIn, you definitely want to reach out to other investors and just let them know, you guys, I'm looking to partner up. I'm looking for deals. I'm looking to be a general partner on a deal. I'm looking to be a limited partner on a deal. And these are the places you're going to go, and you're going to find people with like-minded experiences. And it reminds me, whenever I'm on LinkedIn and I meet someone for the first time, they reach out to me. I always say, thank you for reaching out. I'm always looking to network with like-minded individuals, because what I'm trying to say to them there is, you and I have something in common. And because we have something in common that we both have interest in, maybe we could do some business together. And I believe it's like a step in the door saying we have something in common already. Okay, so that's something that I practice myself. And I believe it's helpful, because if somebody's reaching out to me, they already saw that I'm into multifamily, I'm into syndications, I'm into joint ventures, passive investing. And so when they reach out, I'm already saying, I'm always looking to invest with other like-minded individuals. Okay, we're almost there. We're going through this. We're breezing through it. So we're almost there. Please bear with me. So there's two main places if you want to find partners. People always ask, where else can we find partners? Where are the partners at? I see people meeting up and I see people starting a team, and where are those partners that I see everyone meeting and getting to know? So there's certain places that you could go professionally to look for these partners. And one of those is selectleaders.com. Selectleaders.com. And I'll go ahead and add it here because I find that this is a great place to find important people in the profession of real estate that are also looking to grow and looking to join a partnership or just other real estate related tasks. So again, it's selectleaders.com. I'm going to put it here. And that's another place you could go to find real estate professionals. Now, another one, and I'm sure you guys all know, most people are familiar with, is Indeed.com. Okay, my spelling is off there. Indeed.com. And again, this is another great place that you could go find partners and other real estate professionals. Just let them know what you're doing. Okay, and now the most important part is your asset management fees, and that's going to support the cost of your team. So what you want to do as you're growing your business, you want to continue to put that money back into growing your team. So the money that you're making off your asset management fees, I want you to put that money back into growing your business, growing your team. And that money, the more you put back into your business, the more your business is going to keep giving back to you, if you will. So that's a very important a point that Dan taught me. I hadn't thought of that yet because I haven't done a syndication yet. And that's why it was so interesting to me that the money that goes into starting the team is basically the money that you're getting from your asset management fees. So you definitely want to make sure to include your asset management fees when you're detailing all the fees that you will be charging. Now that concludes the syndication group team. Lastly, we're going to get into the outside team members, and I'm going to breeze through that. So bear with me for just a couple more seconds here, a couple more minutes. So who do we have on the outside team members? We have your CPAs. We have your attorneys, securities attorneys. We have your real estate attorneys, and some key attorneys that I hadn't thought of and Dan brought up are your real estate transactional attorneys and your labor law and contract law. Those are two that I hadn't thought of yet. Your labor law and contract law attorneys. And pretty much you're saying, well, what does it have to do with syndication? Maybe when you're getting started, it doesn't have much to do with your syndication business. But as you grow your business, Dan realized that this is someone that he needed to get in contact with and build a relationship with, because eventually you're going to start hiring more and more people in your outside real estate team. So you want to make sure that these members are also included. So your contract law attorneys and your labor law attorneys. Obviously, you want to have your syndication attorney, your real estate attorneys as well, your property managers, your CPA, and your brokers. Those are the outside team members. And obviously, they're easier to replace. Okay, if you don't like your property manager, you could always fire the manager and hire a new team. Any questions thus far? Anyone? Prashant, okay, everybody's good? All right, so lastly, key point here is your property managers are key. They play a key role in your property, making sure that you increase your NOI. And by increasing your NOI, you're obviously going to increase your property value as well. So that's something you definitely want to do, is have a good property management company. You want to vet the property managers. You want to interview at least 3 or 4. And a good tip I would suggest, and I've done this personally, and that's why I could suggest it, is the brokers that you've established relationships with, your real estate brokers, ask them, who would you suggest is a good property manager? What's a good company that you've either come across or worked with? And ask them for at least 3 or 4 recommendations. And when they give you those recommendations, call them up and ask them, the interview questions. Do you have experience in multifamily? How long have you been doing it? How many properties do you have under management right now? How many units? Because what happens is, if they have way too many units and they're a small mom and pop property management company, they might not be able to continue doing a good job if you have another 200 more units. So you definitely want to ask probing questions and make sure that you get recommendations for these property managers as well. And lastly, you want to search Google, you want to search youtube.com, and these are other places that you could find people for your team. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for sticking around. And I just want you guys to know next month's topic is going to be on how to make money as a multifamily syndicator. So if you don't have the experience yet, if you want to learn, that's definitely something you want to tune in for. And that's it for my presentation. No questions? Anybody have questions? Brock? Keshav? Anyone?
I was on a webinar yesterday, and it was interesting about talking about property managers. Actually, it was a whole 2-day event that I signed up for. And so for property managers, is call other places around the area and kind of see who people recommend. And if you get multiples, that might be a good one to start looking at. It's a good thought. I think I found out.
Yeah, you're saying if you get multiple property managers?
No, if you get multiple properties, they're saying, hey, we recommend this company. It's worth kind of knowing that at least they got some good reviews in the area if they're recommending them.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point too. Also, look directly in Google when you do your Google search. Look directly in the cities that you're looking for properties as well, because you don't want to be looking in Atlanta and you're really going to be buying in Texas, right?
Mhm.
So, but if you're like Prashant, you're buying all over the country, then yeah, go ahead and have a property manager in each state that you're investing. So that's a great point, Brock. Thank you for sharing that. So Prashant, can you tell me a little bit? We're done as far as my content. So can you tell me a little bit who's on your team and how did you establish your team members over the years, and who is your most important members of that team?
See, basically, to me, the most important members of my team are my asset manager, right? Somebody, somebody who is managing my. You are able to hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Because that's my asset manager and my PM are my most important people. I know we talk about acquisitions and stuff like that, investor relations. Yes, they are there, and I do acquisitions and investor relations myself. And I have one more person who helps me out. But to me, the most important thing is the asset management, because if we screw that up, we are screwing the deal. Buying is easy part. Managing it, making it work is the difficult part. 9 out of 10 times, you end up screwing. Yes, you have created a big buffer. So if there are smaller mistakes, they are taken care of by itself because you have buffer in your capex. Your numbers are a little bit padded. But to me, asset management is a good skill to have. And for that, you have to hire asset manager or somebody who has done it. Uh, Somebody who has done it, you bring them as a partner. But I must say one thing. I know we are partnering. We are talking about partnering, right? A skill, and I'm just going to say it as politely as possible. A skill that you can hire is not worth partnering,
That's a
right?
great point. So if you could hire them, they're not worth being a partner.
Yes.
That's a great point. What do
I
you think about, well, well, that's a great point, but I wanted to ask you who else is on your team, if you could answer that part of the
Yeah.
question.
So one is my asset manager, and one is my acquisitions underwriter. Somebody who looks for the properties for me, and investor relationships I take care of myself. I mean, my team is not that big. Okay, I'm not as big as Jan Hanford or anybody else. I have, you know, and depending upon the project, I bring in my general partner. You know, a general partner who has brought me the deal, and he wants to invest the money also in the deal, so he become the partner on that deal basically. My property manager is actually my partner. I mean, I treat my property managers as my partners because wherever I go, they open the new office there for us. So even though they are paid, but I give them, they want to expand their business and our philosophies match. From that perspective, I consider them as my partner, even though they are fee based only, right? So
Right.
my property manager is my team, and my asset manager who's managing them is my employee, and the person who brings the deal to me becomes sort of a partner to me. Depends, it again depends, what he's bringing to the table. Initially, yes, to begin with, it is difficult for everybody to hire somebody, right? That's a fundamental thing, right? You cannot just hire somebody for 70, $80,000 a year, or whatever. But at some point, if you are in that mode of growth, you have to think it from that perspective that if I can hire a skill set, and I have multiple deals going on, an asset manager doesn't have to manage only one deal. Asset manager can manage multiple deals at the same time for you. So you are spreading the salary of the asset manager onto multiple deals, basically.
So how would you go about paying the asset manager?
No, they get paid from the organization, from the holding company, right? and you are charging asset management fees from different projects.
Right.
Eventually, asset manager, give and take. Maybe you lose something, you make something. That doesn't matter, because as asset manager, remember, asset manager is management fees is very small, right? 1 or 2% of the gross that you collect. It's just
Mhm.
so small of an amount. So if you have multiple deals, all that money gets accumulated and that is getting paid to the asset manager.
Perfect.
You make
Yeah.
something,
So
you make something or you lose something, doesn't matter, because we are looking at the bigger picture there.
gotcha. Yeah. So that adds to what I was saying, that your asset management fees help support your team. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that's a great point. Thank you for adding the value there as well.
Yeah.
And Brock, who's on your team, or who do you have so far, and who are you still needing
I
as
don't
part of
I,
your team?
I don't have anybody yet. I'm still very just researcher right now. I'm just doing a lot of webinars. I'm doing a lot of client training. I'm just straight up just trying to understand everything as much as I can before I start getting into that phase.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and that's why this, meetups like this is good, because it kind of gives you like a broad spectrum of, how to get started in these key topics, right? The
Mm-hmm.
content that we're sharing. In this case is building your multifamily team. And, next month's topic is going to be how to make money as a multifamily syndicator. And these are good points, because I know there's many fees that you could charge. So I hope you guys will be there for that one as well. Um, as far as my team, I got a virtual assistant that helps me. Basically, what he's doing is, and Prashant, you and I have talked about this in the past. Basically, what he's doing is he's helping me find off-market deals. And then, so once I have a good deal, I'll go ahead and analyze the deal. And then, if the deal looks good to me, then I'll go ahead and pass it on um, to I guess my lender, you could say. And for me, it's Clay Allen of Old Capital Lending. He's the guy that I bring my properties to, so he could analyze it for me. And I also have another gentleman, Morty Geffner, who also helps me with that. And Morty, as you might know, Prashant, he's in New York as well. So he's also somebody who takes a look at the deals for me. And it's just like a second set of eyes, if you will. And so that's I'm the investor relations guy. I have someone to get me bird dogs or get me deals, and I have someone to analyze the deals for me. And what I'm looking to do, and Prashant knows this firsthand, is I'm looking to be a general partner on deals. So that's what I bring to the table. I have over 20 years experience in real estate. Started as an agent, single family agent. Even to this day, I still do single family sales. I still do multifamily sales. And so I have that experience, and I have my ear to the ground when it comes to what's happening in the market. I know directly what's happening because I'm living it. We're checking out properties, we're walking units, we're doing all those things, and even better, we're talking to the sellers direct. So those are things that I would suggest you do as well. And these are members that I suggest you bring on your team. So someone to analyze property and finance, someone who does acquisitions, someone who does asset management. You're going to need your syndication attorneys. You're going to need your real estate attorneys. You're going to need your property managers, your brokers. All those people have to be a part of the deal. And again, you got your general partners, that's your main syndication group. And then you have your outside partners. We establish all your property managers, brokers, CPAs, and all your attorneys, etc. Keshav, did you want to share who's on your team, or who you're looking for as a partner on your team, and what you're looking for in a partner?
Yeah, Carlos. Well, so I just started learning about this space. Like I mentioned, I'm currently a realtor. So I've begun to attend these meetups and networking events probably for the past 2 months or so.
Cool.
I have an engineering degree, and my 9 to 5 currently is a software engineer. So I'm pretty good with the math. I would guess, if I had to guess, it would be like I'd be a financials guy.
Nice.
And somewhere where I could use some help, definitely like the net worth part of it. So a key principle. And then also like people with that network already, or someone who has more of an interest in that side. Not saying that I don't, but it's I guess we all have to play to our strengths, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
So someone already has those like investor relations, like a huge network of people that they know, or broker relations. I would be living. So currently I'm in Detroit. I would be living in New York later this year. So I would be syndicating remotely. So like I would look for partners in the area, like who have those local relations, and then I would just bring my connections to the deal from like everywhere that I've lived, and like pool that capital together.
That sounds good. That sounds really good. So you're going to be close to Prashant. You're going to be in the same state. So that's good. I'm glad we're making some networking and some connections here.
Where is he located?
No, I'm located in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is, I guess it's kind of far from New York State, right?
From New York State, yeah, it is far. New York City, yeah, we are about 1 hour drive from New York City.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'd be in New York City.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I would love to have you in this area.
Yeah, that'd be great. So we do have another guest that just joined us. A good friend of mine, Angel Williams, is here. So Angel, I'll tell you what we're doing. Basically, we've already, we did some networking at first. Then we hit the content for a good 15 minutes. It was brief. And then now we're again networking and just, we're basically talking about what we're doing in the multifamily space. And if we're looking for partners, which partnerships we're looking for and what we're looking for in our partners. So would you like to share? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself and let's hear what you got. Hi, Angel. I think you're still muted. Can you hear us, Angel? There you go. Are you there? I think we lost her connection, but she'll come back. Are you there?
Sort of.
Okay. Oh, because you're out and about, huh?
Yeah.
I got
We're
you.
back
Cool.
on 75 hard, and so I have to do 2 workouts a day.
Did you hear what I was saying about introducing yourself?
Yeah, I don't exactly like have anything right now, other than the summit coming up, but that's not like a deal to partner on.
Gotcha. But what do you currently do in the multifamily space?
We are LPs in 4 syndications. And then my husband, actually, he's starting a company up. And what he does is if you want to send him your underwriting, he'll basically check your numbers and run it through the one that he created. So he's got a whole spreadsheet with like a bazillion tabs and tons of math stuff. And anyway, he's just really good at that stuff. So.
And what's the name of that company of yours, Angel?
He's actually, the company he's starting is called Second Set of Eyes. And that's for the underwriting check. Mm-hmm. And then just our overall educational platform is the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks.
Gotcha. And then your other company, the Academy Presents?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that company and what it's all about?
I can. Basically, I'm an educator, and I left the K-12 environment this past February, so February 2020. And in order to fill my educator heart, we started the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and now I educate people on various avenues and vehicles within the real estate investing world. And I find experts in the space to come and speak at events, whether it is our weekly episodes, our podcasts, or our summits.
Thanks for sharing. And then Angel, lastly, I was going to say, we also all shared our full names, our emails, and let's see what else we shared here. Full name, emails, phone number, and website if you wanted to, if you could. If not, then we'll leave it for next time. That'll be fine.
I'm sorry, Carlos. I missed it because I got a call. What does Angel's company do? I'm sorry.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. Okay. So basically, she has an education platform. She gets investors involved for summits and other conferences. And
Okay.
on top of that, she's got her own meetup as well.
Okay.
And then she also has the Facebook group. And if you ever on Mondays, if you hear the Academy presents, you'll see that her website on Facebook as well.
Got
And
it.
her husband, Jason, he's very involved in the industry as well.
Got it. Okay.
And if you were in the summit, this last summit in January,
Mhm.
Angel was a presenter as well there as well.
Okay.
So,
Nice. Nice to meet you, Angel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. I put a bunch of stuff in the chat. It's really windy out here, and I don't want to keep blowing up everybody's speakers.
Yeah, I just hear a dog in the background.
Oh, you don't hear the wind?
I hear a dog, yeah. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got for today. I really enjoyed having you guys. If there's any other topic you guys want to bring up, it's open forum by all means.
So, Carlos, what kind of off-market deals are you getting nowadays?
So a little bit of everything. I got one that was about 35 units.
Mhm.
And, it's a small one, but it's something that, like I was telling the person who brought it to me, he's actually a professor for CCIM. You guys might know him. I don't like just throwing names out, but you guys might know him anyway. David Monroe.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was telling me about 34 unit. And so that's one. And it is an off-market deal because he's also a broker, but he hasn't been advertising the property yet.
Mhm.
So that's one. And then the rest, I'm still working through them, trying to analyze them and doing everything else that I can to take these deals down.
Okay.
And Prashant, you know very well, I want to partner up with you. So
I know.
as soon as you could pull me in, I guarantee you, I will raise the capital. I guarantee you that.
Very good, sir. Very good. That's all I wanted to hear. I'm actually reviewing something as we speak, as I told you.
Yeah.
And I'll share something with you soon.
That sounds good. You guys heard it here. Prashant's getting me a deal. That's
All
great.
I heard was I raised capital.
Come again?
Yeah.
All I heard was I raised capital.
Oh, I raised capital. No. Oh yeah, I said I'm going to help him raise capital for his next deals.
Yeah, I know, and I heard that.
Yeah,
That's
right
exciting.
on, right
That's
on.
something lots of people need.
Exactly. And actually, that's going to be another topic we're going to be talking about in the very near future. And I hope you'll join us next time. It's going to be how to make money as a multifamily syndicator. So that'll be the first. We meet every first Monday of the month.
Yeah.
So the next meetup for this is going to be Monday in April. And then I also have my own meetup. And that one you guys probably know it's called Multifamily Meetup Mondays. Now that one, I do it sporadically. You need to go, Prashant?
Yeah, I need to yeah, sorry. So
All right, you're fine. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is that the other meetup is Multifamily Meetup Mondays. We do it sporadically. If I have a guest presenter, I bring them on the show, let them present for a little bit. And at the same time, we do more networking as well. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Any other points you guys want to bring up? Any other topics?
I have a question for just starting out. What would kind of be a minimum threshold where it's really viable, where it's worth pursuing? Like 20 units, 15 units, 35 units. I mean, is there kind of a where it's not almost not worth pursuing? Obviously, you got to look at the numbers on every deal, but have you seen
Right.
something?
Well, this particular case with the 35 unit that I mentioned, it was so. It was such a no-brainer because you're talking about like 45K per unit.
Okay, yeah.
So when you're talking about that kind of deal, you kind of go, well, I can't pass this kind of deal up, right? And in the past, I personally have invested in 5 and 6 units.
Okay.
Now somebody might say, well, that's too small, but I was starting out and it was my own money, my own cash. And to me, that deal was good for a good 5 or 6 years. And that deal actually got me in contact with an investor who later partnered with me, and we did joint ventures on 4 more deals.
Okay.
So in that case, you have to balance it out. Personally, I like 99 units and above. And the reason why I like those, Brock, is because when you have at least 100 units, then you could hire property management and it still pays for itself.
Yep.
If you have anything less than that, then your trouble is finding a way to hire property management. But you could still hire property management. What you could do is have like a leasing agent or an assistant manager, assistant property manager, and they could be managing more than one property. So if you have two properties, let's say you buy a portfolio and they're each 12 and 12 units, right? And they're in the close vicinity one to the other, then what you could do is have one assistant property manager manage both properties. And so in that aspect, who's to say that if you're getting 30K per unit, that it's not worth your while to take down these 24 units?
Makes sense, yeah.
Right. So it varies and everybody has a different criteria. Me personally, I'd like 100 units or above. Realistically, I would take down a 75 unit just to have the experience and just to get started.
That's the challenge I'm seeing and hearing is you need to have some experience to really to get in the door with people, and you got to start small to get the experience too sometimes.
Exactly. And that's what happened with me back in 2001. I was doing real estate and I kept coming across these awesome opportunities. And then I was bringing those opportunities to investors, right? So I was an agent and I was bringing the opportunities to investors. And then I would talk to the investors and they're like, oh yeah, I'm making whatever, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 take home after all the expenses are paid off. And I started thinking, I got to start thinking more like an agent and more like an investor, more like an investor and less like an agent. And that's when I started going, instead of bringing these deals to investors, let me start trying to take down these deals, or even better, bring the deals to investors, but ask, and Kashav, you're a realtor, this might help you as well, is ask for a piece of the action. So yeah, I'm bringing you, like Prashant said, I'll bring you the off-market deal, but in return, I want to have some skin in the game. And it's not to say you need to have 50% partnership, but you could ask for whatever is acceptable, and you negotiate those terms. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we have a new person, investor joining us right now. His name is John Cameron. John, you're just tuning in. So far, we've introduced ourselves. We've said what we're doing in the multifamily space. And we're also letting others know if we're looking for partners and what we're looking for in the partnership. Would you like to comment? If so, unmute yourself. And we'd love to hear, about you and what you got going on in the multifamily space.
Yeah,
John,
sure.
would you like to unmute? Perfect. Go ahead and let us know about yourself and what you're currently doing. And if you're looking for a partnership, what you're looking for in that partnership.
Okay. So I'm fairly new to multifamily investing. I've actually, I have a partner that I'm working with currently now, and we're actually investing final on a property that's in Durham, North Carolina. So this will be, if we are able to take this one down, it will be our first property between my partner and I. But I've been in the space here for about a year. I've been working with a group based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and kind of was doing more of an internship, I guess, if you want to say that. But I had a mentor kind of really showing me the ropes, and I would say that my strength is underwriting deals. My partner currently, he's more the investor relations. He's probably a little bit more extroverted and loves to get out in front of people. So we felt like our strengths really overlapped. But I am looking to really build out my network here in Atlanta. Seems like most of my network has been based in the Carolinas, since that's kind of the sponsors and I guess other syndicators I've really had the most relationships with since I started. But because I'm based here in Atlanta, I live in Brookhaven, so I'm really well centrally located. I'm looking to build out the my network here, and I was referred to this group here just this past week. So this is my first call with you guys, and I look to. And sorry I'm late today. Just had other commitments, but I do look forward to joining these as you guys have these, and look to become more of a member and looking to network with people.
That's great. So thank you, John. Thank you for introducing yourself. Thank you for sharing that information. I'm also in Atlanta, as you know, and so let's definitely hook up. Let's definitely talk. And sure. What we did as we started, everyone shared their name, their full name, their email, their phone number, and if possible, if you want to share like a website address or any other pertinent information, go ahead and do that. So that way we could all have that link. And what I could do is when the meeting is over, not myself, but actually Stacy of the multifamily, Stacy Foster of the Multifamily Investor Nation group, she's going to go ahead and send everyone an email, and we'll all probably get the multifamily webinar video sent out as well. So go ahead and put your information there. Anybody else? It's so cool that, you know, people trickled in. And listen, John, I understand, you know, being late to meetups, I totally get it. I was almost late to this meetup myself. And the reason why is because, you know, you have clientele, you have customers, you have business going on. And it's like John Lennon always said, you know, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And if you guys don't know John Lennon, I don't know where you've been, but I'm kidding. But yeah, John Lennon from the Beatles basically said, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. So don't worry about it. We're glad you're here. And I look forward to getting to know you better in the ATL. So that's
cool. Appreciate it. Thank you. I look forward to talking with everybody. I'll definitely put in my information once I receive that email. So I'll make sure that it gets blasted out to everybody. And I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Oh, cool. But I might have misspoken, but if you could, if it's okay, if you could share it here in the chat box.
Oh, sure. Okay.
If that's okay. And that way we all have a copy, and then I can send it to everyone as well.
Got it. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for that. Now, if anybody has any deals in the pipeline, if anybody comes across deals that you might not be willing to take down, they're too small, or they're in another state, I'd be willing to take a look at that and analyze it, and just be maybe a third set of eyes, or just you know, pass it on to someone else. I do have many investors coming to me for off-market deals and looking to partner up. So, you know, like, let's say maybe I'm the only one who wants to do 75 units, but you only like doing 200 units at a time. You could pass them my way, and we could take them down. And in the future, I could do the same and pass down bigger deals as they come my way as well, or hopefully we could partner on deals. So this was Multifamily Investor Nation Monday Meetup. The topic for today, as you guys know, was building your multifamily team. I'm honored and blessed to have had all of you here with us today. I'll let Angel get back to her jog. I'll let Prashant get back to his conversation. And Keshav has something to say, so go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So you meant, like, we're talking about teams, right? I was wondering how the payout is structured between members of a team. Like, you have your investor relations, you have financials guy, broker relations. What decides how much each guy gets paid?
That's a great question. And let me tell you, in my personal experience, it all depends. It's negotiable. You could always negotiate the terms or or the actual agreement. And another thing, and you know, someone with more experience could possibly attest to it, but you definitely, before you get started on a partnership, you want to sit down with a syndication attorney and your partners, and you want to write out that agreement. And the reason you want to do it beforehand is because you don't want the partnership to be based on how much the deal's worth or how big the deal is. You want it to be established beforehand. So I would recommend, before I could give you an answer, there's no set numbers, right? But the answer is negotiate that with your partners, and it also depends on what you're bringing to the table. So if I'm bringing an off-market deal, and let's say it's like 40K per unit, 100 units, then maybe I could say, hey, I want 50% partnership, right? And maybe on top of that, I'm also bringing capital. So you
have to come to the table with how much investor capital you're bringing.
Come again?
You have to come to this table with the syndication attorney of how much investor capital each person is bringing.
Well, not so much specifically that, but what I'm saying is the actual agreement of how much and who's going to do what, and how much is everyone going to get paid, and you know how much the whole partnership is going to be based on how much capital per partner. That's something you want to establish beforehand, and you want to definitely do it in writing. You definitely want to have it in writing, and you definitely want to meet up with a syndication attorney and maybe even possibly a real estate attorney and have that agreement written up.
So I guess
have anything else to add to that? Guess not.
I mean, I've only ever seen the paperwork because we've only ever been passive. But it's setting it up beforehand keeps you from so you're basically marrying the other members of your operating team.
Yep.
And
it's a marriage.
Married people fight. And you want to have that all set up ahead of time so that it doesn't break down the relationship and make the next 5 to 7 years absolutely miserable. So, but I mean, there's some things that are standard. I think like a 2% acquisition fee. That one's kind of standard. You might see some variations from it. You might see, let's see, a 70-30 split or a 60-40. I think I saw a 50-50 one time. And I'm not real good at how the waterfalls work, but my husband is, and we're a team, so it works out. But those are the things that you decide ahead of time so that everybody knows what piece they're getting.
Exactly. No, and for syndication, Securities and Exchange Commission's purposes, you definitely want to have it in writing and before you bring a deal to the table. So I cannot have a deal and say, okay, we're going to partner up, and now I'm going to include you in this partnership, and you just found out about the deal. Technically, if I'm already raising capital for this deal, I can't bring you in on this one. I could bring you in on the next one, right? But you can't come in on this one because our relationship was not established beforehand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then what you want to do, like Angel was saying, you definitely want to have an agreement up front. And that way it's clear what everyone's roles are going to be, and it's clear how much everyone's going to take home. And if anyone else were to take a look from the outside looking in, they'd be able to understand the agreement and know exactly what the roles are and what everyone else is getting their piece of the deal as well.
So like, could you and I partner on one now, or no? Would we have to wait till our next conversation?
We definitely could. We definitely could. And we will. No, we definitely could. And yeah, so the reason why is because I don't have a deal right now that I'm telling you.
I'll just bring like $2 million to the deal, but we're both still going to get 33%. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it won't really work like that. So if, let's say in your example, Angel brings, let's say the majority of the capital, and you bring a smaller portion, you're going to get a smaller portion of the percentage of the profits.
But you just said that the capital raising happens after we've signed the deal. I thought.
The payout is proportionate to what you bring.
Exactly. So in other words, you're going to raise capital, right? That's going to help you because you're also raising capital. You don't have money in the game, but you're going to raise the capital to bring in the money to the game, right? But how much you're bringing into the deal, that's going to be established when we first sit down and establish all that.
So we should come to the table with how much investor capital we have available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that should be something that you at least know. Hey, look, I personally have XY, $25,000, $50,000 that I could deploy in this deal. Plus, I'm going to raise capital, and we need to raise, let's say, 2.5 mil. I'm bringing in 50, and the rest I'm going to raise up to $1 million. Okay, and based on that, and let me tell you, a lot of people do it. That based on how much you bring as far as capital is the percentage of ownership that you get in the deal as well.
Okay. That makes sense.
And that all depends. Angel might have something, but that all depends on the negotiations that you establish with the partnerships. And for most part, when they're experienced syndicators, you're not going to be telling them, I want 10% or I want 20.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you, but they're going to ask you to see just how much you know about what you're talking about. So if you say, oh no, I'm just my first deal, I don't have any capital, I'm just going to raise, and I want 75%. They're going to say, this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
They'll laugh me out of the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when they ask you, how much capital are you bringing? What is the percentage that you want out of the partnership of the profits? They're kind of vetting you out. They want to see if you know what you're talking about. And then if you say a good response, then they're going to know. And if you know what you're talking about, then they'll say, yeah, I'll consider giving this guy, say 5%, say 25%, because this person knows what they're talking about. They're going to raise the capital. They have the experience, and we're going to be able to take down this deal together.
And Gustav, also, when raising it, you have to remember what type of syndication you're doing. Is it a 506C or a 506B?
Right.
Because obviously that determines which type of, who you can contact and all that stuff. I'm finding out. I'd like to have more. I'm not an accredited investor. A lot of people only go after the 506C because it's easier for them to raise the money because they don't have to have that prior relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when you do 506C, you could raise. You could advertise the property, right? You could put it in social media if you want, all that good stuff. But you could only work with accredited investors. And do you guys know the meaning of accredited investors? It bears repeating, right? So an accredited investor is someone who makes up to $250,000 per year, and with the expectation of doing it again for the next year, or if they're married, up to $300,000 in annual income per year in the past 2 years, with the expectation of making it again the following year. That's an accredited investor. Now, these days, the accreditation is changing a little bit. So you could have Series 6, which is an insurance designation, and that could make you accredited. It still hasn't come into effect yet, but that's something that's coming in the pipeline where you could get a course, pass the course, get accredited that way. You could also get accreditation if you partner up with someone. So say we go down and we partner up on a deal with Prashant, let's say, or Angel, let's say, and Angel has the past experience of syndicating deals, then it's almost like we're grandfathered in based on her experience, right? So that's another way you could get accreditation. Okay. So I might not be accredited, but if I'm part of a managing partner group and everybody who's a managing partner is accredited, then the new rules are going to establish me as also being an accredited investor because I'm being grandfathered in through their experience. Right? It's like when people say, oh, between us, there's over 100 years experience in real estate. It's kind of the same kind of concept. Because Angel, Prashant, and Brock have the experience, if I'm in that team, then I also will be considered someone with the experience.
You know about the Series 65 that allows you to be accredited. It's a fine line there. It says you must be registered with the state, licensed with the state as well. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, you must be registered with the state, but that's more like for a broker dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like getting into, because that's more into the syndication attorney aspect. But after seeing so many webinars, reading so many books, going to so many conferences, and talking to so many syndication attorneys, these are the things that I've picked up along the years. So that's what I could speak to. But I will reiterate that I am not a syndication attorney.
Yeah.
You should definitely seek one and get the answers from them as well. And as far as also, anything that we've talked about here, my experience as far as what I could talk on is multifamily and real estate in general, right? Like I said, I've done investments, I've done single family sales, single family investments, joint ventures of small multifamily, 5 and 6 deals. So that's what I could talk about and to. And I've also been a general partner on deals. The deals didn't go through, but we got as far as the LOI, we got as far as the purchasing and sale agreement. So I could speak to that if, that's as far as I go. But I would recommend speak and definitely call, go to Google, search syndication attorneys. I could recommend a few. Call them up and say, listen, how do we get started? What's the first part? What's next? Who should I look for? What should I be cautious of, right? How can I protect myself? Those are good questions to ask the syndication attorneys. And again, if you need a recommendation, find me offline and we could definitely talk about that. And I could definitely recommend a few. And the few that I'm going to recommend are mostly people that I've met and spoken to and have interviewed at some point in the past 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I would back up just a little bit too, because what someone said to me one time was that you need to always be looking for investors, and it's called a soft commit. Because like I've got 375,000 in soft commits. Those are people that are friends of mine that said, when you have a deal, let me know. I want to invest with you. And so that's a way to kind of test the waters without having a deal in play. So just to kind of have it out there and have a group of people you could reach out to.
Right. And what do you say when you're requesting a soft commit from someone, Angel? Or what have you heard people ask?
I've never asked. They just give it to me.
Right.
I had a guy tell me, when you have a deal, let me know. I have about 100,000. I'd like to invest with you. I chased him out the door of the shop we were in. And I was like, what did you just say?
I don't repeat that. But what I like about that, Angel, and that's a great point you just brought up, is that if you have yourself a leadership platform, like something similar to this that I'm doing now, this meetup, or if you have a in-person meetup, or if you have, a channel, a YouTube channel, or a podcast, you have a leadership platform where people could get to know you. And that brings up another topic that we'll be talking about later on in other meetups, is a know, like, and trust factor. So the more people know you, the more they start to like you. And then once they start to like you, the next step is for them to trust you. And then after that, if you go one step further, there's a know, like, trust, and invest factor, is they know you so well that you'll have people saying, hey, find me a deal because I want to invest with you. And you don't even know this person yet, but they feel they know you because they've seen your videos, they've heard your podcast, they've seen you on LinkedIn. And that's a good way to get people to feel comfortable enough where you barely know them or you don't even know them at all. And they're willing to put up 50, 100, even millions of dollars in your deals because they feel that connection with you. And I see that all the time. I have been, and Prashant could attest to this. You could ask Prashant Kumar, who was just here. He let me know he had to go, but he's invited me to be a managing partner on his deals. And why? Because we've had conversations. I've established a friendship with him. We've met together. We've talked. You understand what I'm saying? So as he got to know me, he started to like me. And as he started to like me, he, did his background check on me. He, Google searched me, everything he possibly could to feel comfortable enough to say, hey, yeah, Carlos, I want to bring you up in the syndication world. And I want you to partner up with me on deals. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be a general partner raising capital for the deal. And what I like even more about what Prashant said is he says, I'm even going to show you how we go about the process of raising capital.
And that's what I'm interested in now, is kind of getting that knowledge from somebody else right now.
I could barely hear you, Brock. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm interested in, is trying to get into where I can have somebody teach me while I'm working through a deal with them. I think it's
exactly
my own right now. Just sort of anything I can do to learn.
Yeah, and you guys, you're in the perfect spot, because let me tell you, this virtual meetup is not just today and just one topic. We got topics lined up from January all the way to December, and every single topic is formulated to bring you one step closer to taking down your first multifamily syndication. And I'm telling you, a year ago, I was probably 50 steps behind where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm getting closer every day is because not a day goes by that I don't study, network, and Angel knows, because I was in her podcast, in her meetup earlier today. I'm always networking. I'm always looking to grow, looking for deals. And like another point that Angel brought up is you got to be looking for two people all the time, the deals and the partners. All the time, deals and the money, deals and the capital, deals and the capital, because that's what's going to keep coming up. People are going to say, oh, show me the deals. What are you going to say? I don't have one right now. No, you got to say, I have one in the pipeline. This is what I'm doing to get more. And I'm going to be doing, and as a realtor, we have access to the FMLS. Look on the FMLS, on the MLS, because you're going to see that sometimes there's off market, well, not off market, but there's small deals in multifamily that show up in the MLS. And the 5 and 6 units that I originally bought on my own, that I bought it all cash, I found that in the MLS. So that's a great place to find good deals. And we've kind of come off the topic here, but I enjoy that we have, because even though we're not talking about building a multifamily team, we're talking about things that are pertinent and that fall into place with everything that has to do with the syndication. So these are great topics nonetheless. And in the future, if you guys want other topics, you can let me know what other topics you're interested in. Email me, send me a text, call me, whatever you want to do. And then what I'll do is, not just in this one, because this one has a certain layout, but in my multifamily meetup Mondays, I could bring on guests to talk on those topics as well.
Well, and I mean, you did really kind of talk about putting a team together, because like, I don't underwrite. My husband underwrites. I got really embarrassed today when I was talking to a friend of mine trying to find the purchase price of something, and his spreadsheet has like 18 million tabs, and like I'm just trying to find the number and I couldn't find it. And my friend was like, Angel, there's a summary tab. Share your screen with me. But so underwriting is not my thing, but I'm really good at making people feel comfortable. Like, people feel real comfortable around me really fast. And that is my superpower by far. And then like my husband is the underwriter. And then I have other friends that they're the asset manager, or, there's like 4 basic roles, I think. Matt Faircloth talks about them. And then as far as just like looking for cap raising stuff, Adam Adams should have some free videos out about raising capital too.
Yeah, and actually, that's a great point. I just actually watched his last webinar on raising capital, and he was also talking about growing your podcast. So she mentioned Adam Adams, and he's great at growing your podcast and also growing your following. So if you guys are looking like, oh, I'm kind of curious about if I should start a podcast, it's kind of like in your brain, like where you're at, you're the agent there. Where you're at, you're the investor there. Your friends, they might not have someone in multifamily. So you could be that sounding board who brings them that knowledge. So that's something you definitely want to consider, because these people are going to be able to learn more about you through your leadership platforms. And she mentioned Adam Adams. He's awesome at helping you grow your following and especially grow your meetups and everything else. So I would definitely look into him. And who was the other one you mentioned, Angel? You said, I'm trying to think.
Adam Adams.
Yeah, and Matt Faircloth.
Yeah, Matt Faircloth.
Well,
Matt Faircloth talks about the 4 components that you need to make sure you have covered for your team. So it's like the hammer, and then there's like the money person, but he had like superhero names for them. And his wife Liz does a similar presentation that way. But it's a really cool way to look at it and to realize that 2 people can cover all 4 roles. But if it's a big property, it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about at the beginning is like the syndication group team, and you want to make sure that you have the least amount of partners possible, and you want to make sure that each partner has a role and that they know the role. Oh, and very important, I almost forgot to mention this part, but it's very important. You want to be able to cross into the other roles if for XY reason one of your partners is not available. So like, let's say, what would you do if your finance partner isn't available and you're in the process of taking down a deal and someone sends you an off-market deal? What do you do then? So it's very important that you should be able to cross-train or know the other partnerships and what they're doing and be able to take over in case of you're missing someone. So if the investor relationship person loses their voice, you want to be able to have someone else, maybe the managing partner who does the acquisitions, be able to step in and say, hey, look, our investor relations person is out, but I'm taking over for today. They'll be back tomorrow, whatever the case might be. So you definitely want to be cross-trained. And even though somebody else is taking over that role, you want to be able to take over that role at a moment's notice if that ever came up. And it reminds me too, like back in the days when I was in drama and I was in acting classes, and sometimes, the person next to you loses their lines, right? They forget their lines. And that's why it's important to be able to take over, because if they forget their lines, I should be able to feed them their line to bring them back into the play or the show or the movie or whatever it might be. So that's just something similar, if you will, to what I'm referring to. I can't think of the word, but anyway, it's similar to what I'm referring to. But what I'm really talking about is you want to make sure that you have a partner with you, and that each partner could take over the roles of the other partners in case someone is missing. So even though analyzing properties, I could do it. It takes me a very long time, and I don't like to do it, to be honest. But I could do it if my analysis financial person is not available. I could take over and analyze the deals if I had to. And I could take over acquisitions, and I could take over the asset management, and I could take over talking with lenders and everything else. So that's the good thing about what I've learned, because I've been a solopreneur for so long that I've had to learn these roles on my own. So I could take over if ever need be. I suggest you guys do the same. All right, guys, if there's nothing else, anybody else have a question or a comment?
Hey, Carlos, John here. So,
Yes, John.
I've got a question around earnest money. So if we're talking about teams here, so you're at the point of LOI and you get past that, you're getting ready, you win the deal, you get ready to go under contract, and one of your partners is going to put up the money for the earnest money. So at that point, they have the most skin in the game. Would it be typical for that partner to ask for some sort of collateral from the other partners that they're not putting in the money, or in exchange, would you just kind of structure the percentage of what they receive as far as the proceeds from the deal? How's that normally handled?
Yeah, I would structure it so that it's understood from the get-go, and that this person is putting up hard money up front, because that money, that earnest money, depending on how you negotiate, could be non-refundable. And if that money goes hard at day one and it's non-refundable, that person is taking up 95 or if not 99.9% of the risk. So that person should definitely be entitled to a larger part of the proceeds. But how you establish that is something that you all negotiate and you all come to terms with and all agree on. So again, what I would do in that aspect is I would sit down with the partners, with a syndication attorney, and talk about the partnership, who's doing what roles. It's going to be written out and everybody's going to understand what their roles are. And the good thing about knowing your role is that if someone is lacking, you could say, listen, this part is on you. You're dropping the ball on this, or we need to improve on that. And that's the way to make sure that it's understood that if this person is putting in earnest money up front, then yes, they should definitely have a larger piece of the proceeds as well. Great question, John.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else have something else? So I just want to make some quick announcements. One, we do have the Multifamily Summit coming up again in June. You can use my promo code Carlos100. I'm going to also enter it here. Carlos100. That's going to save you $100 off the price of the of admission for the summit. It's coming June, I believe, 21st through the 23rd. So you could use promo code. I'm going to put it here. Okay, Carlos. Okay. And then, so that's for the summit, a Multifamily Investor Nation Summit. And it takes place twice a year, once in January, once in June. Angel, who's here with us today, was giving a theme for last time. It was great about your superpowers. And what she mentioned was her superpower is investor relations and letting people relax around her and open up to her. So that's a great superpower to have, especially if you're dealing with investor relations. So she's probably going to be on there again in June. I would suggest you guys go, and the main reason is, and Brock, you could attest to this as well, there's over 50 investors that, you know, they bring a topic with them. But on top of that, you're dealing with syndicators who have experience, co-sponsors, and other key principals, and you're going to be able to network with these people, ask them questions up front. And the loveliest part of it all is that they love to give their information. They love to share. They love to help others. So there's no, like, you know, sometimes people say, oh, that's a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb question, and they're all open to help out. So I would highly recommend going to summit.com, Multifamily Investor Nation /summit. Use my promo code Carlos100 when registering, and you'll save $100 off the price of admission. Something else I put here, Carlos0100, is actually Carlos100, no zero involved.
Did you put the link in there as well, Carlos?
Yeah, you got it. I'll put the link. Bear with me while I do that.
Thanks.
I don't usually type when I'm doing this, but I really want to make sure you guys have that. Multifamily. Okay.
And when Dan does something, he does it right too. It's worth showing up to. He doesn't shortcut on anything. He's awesome on organizing these things.
Say that again.
I said, when Dan does something, he does it right. He does it all out. He job at organizing these events.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I go to almost every single conference throughout the year, and I'm not just saying this because this is part of his group, but this is really my favorite one. It truly is my favorite one. The reason why is because it's the one I've gotten the most value from. It's the one that I've met the most key principals at, the most loan guarantors at, and the most investors that are willing to share their information at. Not to mention that that's what got me in with Dan Handford. So this is where I met Dan Handford, through the summit. So I would highly recommend it. And there's 2 a year. Also, you could go to my website. It's very simple, CanisMajorInvestmentCapital.com. You can see what I'm doing there. You can also find me in all social media, same name, Carlos D. Reinoso, or on Facebook. I'm going to put it here as well. You can find me under Carlos de Jesus, which is basically my first and middle name, Carlos de Jesus on Facebook. Everywhere else is Carlos D. Reinoso. And you guys, the one place I love connecting more than anywhere else is social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn especially. I'd love to have you guys as colleagues and friends on all these social media sites. And I'd love to follow you guys as well. And again, we are going to share the chat and everything else with you guys. So definitely, if you want to go ahead and share your information here, we'll definitely go ahead and share it with the group. Excuse me. And I definitely look forward to getting to know you guys better. This business is definitely a relationship business. This is not something where you come in and you get out. This is something where you meet people, you grow relationships, you grow friendships, and you grow in the business together. So I highly recommend that you guys treat this as a long-term business affair, and give out a lot of value whenever possible, and help others as you're coming up. Help others come up with you, and we could someday make this world a better place by helping each other out, and something as simple as just sharing our wisdom with others. Thank you guys for your time. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting. If you guys need anything else, you have my contact info, and be looking out for that email with the webinar video on how to get started in multifamily investing. Thank you guys for your time. This has been Carlos D. Reinoso, Multifamily Investor Nation, Multifamily Monday Meetup. Till next time, this is Carlos D. Reinoso signing off. See you
It
guys.
was nice meeting you all. Thank
See
you.
guys.
Pleasure, you guys. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.
See you guys next time. Please join us. All right, so that was Multifamily Investor Nation, Multifamily Monday. I had a blast. I really didn't want to leave, but as far as the topic of building your multifamily team, we kind of exhausted that topic, and we were getting a little bit off topic. So I decided to stop it there, and we'll leave some more for next time. And again, next time's meeting is going to be how to make money on multifamily syndication. Hope you guys will join us then. Again, this is Carlos D. Reinoso. Hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for joining us. I had a great time, and look forward to this video on my YouTube channel coming up soon. Thank you guys, and see you soon.